All I can say is that the fake news just doesn't get it, do they? So, politics is important, right? I mean, a governor is important. To deploy the National Guard, not to deploy the National Guard. So in New York, they had a debate among the Democrats for governor. It's an important conversation. Most people don't know who these people are, right? It's only 1 hour, and guess what they did? They screwed around with it. Not the candidates, but the moderators. This actually happened. They used this opportunity for the voters to meet these folks with the most inane questions. Seriously, they asked these questions.
What's your absolute number one biggest pet peeve?
Mr. Williams, what is the one thing you simply cannot live without besides your family? Mr. Swazi, do you believe in ghosts?
So, Mr. Williams, in one word, Superman or Batman?
Ms. Hochul, what's your biggest weakness or flaw? Mr. Williams, what's your go-to karaoke song?
My go-to karaoke song, it'll probably Maxwell, Pretty Wings.
Can you sing it?
Pretty wings, oh, pretty wings.
That sounds just like it.
That's cute, right? No. I don't blame the candidate. Karaoke, did the 20-somethings know what karaoke is anymore? Nobody does karaoke. I haven't thought of karaoke since 1980, the Bush administration, the first Bush administration. Anyway, that actually happened. I think politics is a bit more serious than that. Also, the rainbow flag, you see it everywhere for Pride Month. June is Pride Month. You heard about the push. It's getting downright communist, these tactics, to make the Devil Rays, the Tampa Rays, the baseball team, wear the patch of gay pride. Well, not everybody wanted to wear that patch. It was gay pride night at the stadium. Not all the players were into it. 5 guys said, no, we're not going to wear that patch. And by the way, they were pretty darn respectful about it. In fact, Jason Adam put out, I thought, a beautiful statement. He just said it like this. Put it on the screen, please. Yeah, here we go. Who's encouraged us to live a lifestyle that would abstain from that behavior, just like Jesus encourages me as a heterosexual male to abstain from sex outside of the confines of marriage? It's no different, he wrote. It's just a lifestyle, not that they look down on anybody. It's just that we maybe don't want to encourage it if we believe in Jesus. Well, that was a pretty open and bold confession of faith, and I think his answer should be respected, and it wasn't. In fact, he's been mocked, so have the players, not just from the woke left, but from the formerly good people at ESPN. ESPN, we all know it, right? You grew up with it, a bunch of guys talking about sports. Well, no, it's changed a lot. And you have people like Sarah Spain. Now, at first, I thought she said all this nonsense. And what's her background, by the way? She's just a typical broadcaster, you know, worked here, worked there, worked at Fox. And now she's the woke police, all right? Here's what she had to say about the players who simply did not want to wear gay pride patches on their uniform.
Pride is about inclusion, so you don't love them and you don't welcome them if you're not willing to wear the patch. And calling it a lifestyle reveals to me that you've done not even a modicum of research or understanding on this topic, which is what tends to happen when a privileged class isn't affected by things.
What? You haven't done a modicum of research. What research are we supposed to do, right? I think we kind of all have a ballpark idea of what's going on with gay people and straight people when they're alone. What is she talking about? And then she invokes privilege. Hey, by the way, these ball players, they grew up working class. They may have made it big now, but they know what it's like. And she goes on, this woke police woman.
This is not just about baseball. That religious exemption BS, which is used in sport and otherwise, also allows for people to be denied health care, jobs, apartments, children, prescriptions, all sorts of rights. And so we have to stop tiptoeing around it because we're trying to protect people who are trying to be bigoted from asking for them to be exempt from it when the very people that they are bigoted against are suffering the consequences.
That's pretty severe, calling those guys bigots for not wearing a patch. And what's going to happen here? Yeah, that patch, wearing that patch will get people jobs, apartments, and children. That's what she said. Now, I figure the entire panel would be like, okay, we're going to have at that. No, right? No, nobody disagreed with her. Nobody. They went along with it. Check it out.
I would love to pile on these 5 guys for their anti-LGBT gesture that they just did, but really this is about the fruitlessness of the performative gesture of having these patches and having these flags when clearly they're not the only 5 guys who feel like this. Otherwise, Major League Baseball would have more LGBTQIA plus players or any in these leagues. If you want to have something that really means anything while you're in there in Florida, speak out about the Don't Say Gay bill or do something that really says that you stand for folks that are putting a flag out there and get distracted by these conversations about who's wearing a patch and who's not.
All right, he's staying woke. He's trying to disagree, but he's not really disagreeing, right? Come out and say something about the Don't Say Gay bill. This is ESPN. The next guy, by the way, it's fascinating the way he talks. I don't blame him for dodging the issue. He does. He has to say something, but he doesn't want to say something. So he says nothing, but it seems like he said something. Take a look.
As much a marketing statement they're making as much as a political one. And I covered Major League Baseball for 2 years. I spent in a clubhouse. I did the NBA for over 20. Believe me when I tell you, there are a lot of players that feel this way. They're just not going to come out publicly and say it. And I think when the leagues kind of go down this road, this is what's going to happen, the fallout from it.
All right, I think that's a dodge, and I think that's okay. Everyone's freaked out. You say the wrong thing, you tweet the wrong thing, it can be over like that. That's China. That's North Korea. This is not America. We've got to get over this. One more. The man in the striped shirt, he's also with the woke police. This is ESPN. You must wear a gay pride patch or else you're a bigot.
If you feel this way, not feeling compelled to come out and say it publicly, which is why I point to the Rays from a leadership standpoint on this. You can't have your players doing this. It makes you look like you're regressing and you're completely backwards. It's 2022. Just imagine if 4 or 5 guys decided they were going to say this in terms of, I don't know, military things on their jerseys. People would react completely differently, and it's not all that different. Rays, get your house in order.
Get your house in order and make them all, the 5 players who didn't wear the patch, make them wear the gay pride patch? No, there is a very big difference between the gay pride patch and the nation's uniform, right? Which represents the American flag. You get it? You get it, ESPN? You want us wearing... Hey, I did notice that the first woke policewoman, now it's Gay Pride Month, right? Where is her gay pride button? Where is her gay pride patch? I don't see any. I don't see any. What's going on there? Is she a bigot? What's happening? This is what they do in communist countries, what they used to do in Russia, Soviet Union, yeah. You had to have all these, patches, medals, everything you did, right? That established you as something, right? Isn't that right, Premier Brezhnev? This is not America. We've got to relax a little bit. We have to know that we're right and push back and not be afraid. And I want to say something about Jack Del Rio. I'm not a huge football fan, but I love this guy. He is the defensive coach for the Washington Football Club. They finally have a name, by the way, the Washington Commanders, right? So you may have noticed that they're having the January 6th hearings tomorrow night in prime time. Some people are talking about it, and some people, like me, have noticed the following, that there were 600 and something riots during Black Lives Matter, all kinds of mayhem, all kinds of destruction, and there was only one riot on January 6th. Nothing burned. It was, and quite frankly, the only people who lost their lives were Trump supporters, okay? Ashley Babbitt and the others. Brian Sicknick, rest in peace. That was natural causes. That's what we're told. So the coach tweeted something, and I think it's totally reasonable. I happen to agree with him. Would love to understand the whole story about why the summer of riots, looting, burning, and the destruction of personal property is never discussed, but this is. Now, he's referring to, in common sense, of course, referring to the January 6th hearings. He was responding to another tweet. Well, of course, what happened? All hell breaks loose, right? You have international media writing about this. How can he call January 6th the dust-up? How dare he? He must use the rhetoric that we approve, that we sanction. Well, he came out in front of the cameras, and he wasn't afraid, and he made his case, and he did it with style and class.
I see the images on TV. People's livelihoods are being destroyed. Businesses are being burned down. No problem. And then we have a dust-up at the Capitol. Well, there's nothing burned down. And we're not going to talk about, we're going to make that a major deal. I just think it's kind of two standards. And if we apply the same standard and we're going to be reasonable with each other, let's have a discussion. That's all it was. Let's have a discussion. We're Americans. Let's talk it through. I'm for us, you know, having a great opportunity to have a fulfilled life. Like I said, every which way I can. When I'm here, it's about love and respect.
Who can argue with that? Well, apparently everybody can. Everybody in the woke left and corporate America, the NFL. Shortly after this, he put out a statement. Now, he said there, not in the tweet, sorry, about the dust-up, and that set people off all over again. He says, referencing that situation as a dust-up was irresponsible and negligent, and I am sorry. I stand by my comments condemning violence in communities across the country. I love and respect all my fellow coaches, players, and staff, and I work with and respect their views and opinions. You're allowed to say things in America, all right? This is not Tom Brady, by the way. I'm not saying he's, you know, the guy, he's not a cashier at the grocery store either. But if it can happen to him, it can happen to anybody. This is scary stuff. This is not America. Jack Del Rio, I'm sorry you went through this. I'm sorry anybody would ever have to go through this. We're going to start self-censoring. It's one of the reasons why I can be rather outrageous on this show and on other platforms. I feel it's my duty. I feel it's our duty. We cannot be held back. We will not be held back.